We're going to sing the Shabad of Bhagat Naam Dev Ji. First, we listen to the Shabad Sangat Ji of Guru Nanak Dev Ji Path Ji. Mul kharidi lala gola, mera naam sapaga. Keeping that Shabad in mind, what Guru Nanak Dev Ji Path Ji said to us all today. So think of this now. Put yourselves in the shoes of this Shabad. And how do we do that? Guru Nanak Dev Ji Path Ji saying, Mul kharidi. Mul. Sangat Ji, mul ki hunda. What does mul? What's mul? Just make sure that everyone's here and awake, that get into it. Kiran, what's mul? Mul. Value, yes. Alright, everybody else knew that, yes? Just pretend and say, go like this. Yeah, everybody else knew that, yes? So mul, Sangat Ji, is value. And Sangat Ji, mul, Guru Nanak, this is so amazing what Guru Nanak Dev Ji Path Ji says in the Shabad, that mul kharidi, saying that Akal Purkh Vaheguru Ji. Think about this now. Think about putting yourself in the shoes of this Shabad, because we want the Shabad to talk to us and become real for us. A Shabad isn't something that's just sang on stage. A Shabad is something that we become and we embody and we live. And I was saying to Arjan Singh and Gurpreet Kaur the other week, and I said the truth is, Kirtan is only Kirtan if we're actually singing that. If we're not actually saying that, we're not actually singing that, then we've not yet done Kirtan. We can sing the Guru's words, we can sing it in even the rag and in the tune, but if we're not saying that truly from inside, then we've not yet done Kirtan. So today we want to do Kirtan and saying, Mera naam sapaga. I want to become that most fortunate one. But how do I become the most fortunate one? When God buys me out. And when I become a slave of God, that mul kharidi. So gur ki bachni heart bikana. That's amazing. Think about this. Imagine going to a shop and then you can buy the Guru Shabad. What does it mean to buy the Guru Shabad? To buy the Guru Shabad, it means that you take the Guru's Sikhya, the Guru's teachings. I wouldn't call it teachings. Let's switch that. We take the Guru's wisdom. What it means to take the Guru's wisdom, it means we take the Guru's sharing, the Guru's experience of this creation with us. Gur ki bachni heart bikana. So think of this today. You've come to the Guru shop here. Gur ki bachni heart ki hunda. What's a heart? Hatti? No, hut, it's a shop. Anyway, hatti is a dukaan, a shop, right? Gur ki bachni, we've come here today. Imagine we've come to a shop today, Gur ki bachni, and we want to now take away with us. We want to buy the Guru's Shabad, right? Meaning the Guru's wisdom, we want to take it away so we have the longing to become and experience what the Guru is sharing with us. And how do we buy that then? Gur ki bachni heart bikana. Tan, man, tan, sab saump gur ko hukam manne payab. Give our mind to the Guru. Man beche sad gur ke paas. This sevak ke karj ras. We give our mind to the Guru. So Sangat Ji, you've come to the Guru's hatti today. You come to the Guru shop today. We want to sell our mind to the Guru today. And we want to take away the Guru's wisdom with us today. And we yearn to experience the Guru's wisdom. The Guru's wisdom is what to us? Kat kat vasi, sarb nivasi, nede hi te neda. Kat kat. What's kat? What's kat? Heart. Kat kat vasi. So normally you'll see this translated as within each and every heart that one exists, but we're going to translate it slightly different. We're going to translate this kat to call. Or we can say at the heart of everything is that one. Has it become our experience yet? For some maybe, but not necessarily for all. Maybe for our beautiful Bhagat Singh, that's actually true. And that's his experience. Right? That's why he's always smiling at everyone, because he can see that one in everything. Kat vasi, sarb nivasi. O renda kithe a, oda nivas kithe a. Sarb nivasi, we can say that tera nivas kithe a, where do you live? Where does Vaheguru live? At the core of everything, at the heart of everything, Vaheguru Ji is there. Has that yet become our experience? We've come here to sell ourselves and say, Guru Sahib, let me long for that to become my experience as well. Satguru agge ardas kar. Sangat ji, Guru Sahib even tell us what ardas to do. Guru Sahib, kehdi ardas karni apne? Satguru agge ardas kar sajan de milaye. We're saying Satguru agge ardas kar, apa ithe ardas karna auni a. We come here to do this ardas, to do what? Sajan de milaye. Let me meet my true companion. Jada mere naal hai har samay. That one that is always with me. That is my true sajan. My true friend. That is constantly, is always with me. I want to meet that one. Jado ek wari oh mil gaya na, Fair Sangat ji, then we trying to get things out of other people. ਆਪਾਂ ਨਾ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਨਾ ਕਿਸੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਨਾ ਪਿਆਰ ਕੱਢ ਲਵਾਂ ਕਿ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਮੜ ਜੇ ਮਿਲ ਜਾਵੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਿਆਰ ਆਪਾਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਲੱਭਣਾ ਹੈ we're trying to experience love from other people constantly. We're so desperate. We want to feel loved. We want to be loved. We're going around, हाँ यार जे सिम तो ही मर जाए मिल जाए, right? हुन की पता कि आप भी खाली बैठा होवे. He's probably not. You know, isn't it? Yeah, हैगा मर जाए, हैगा कहंदा हाँ. इतों तो चल हैगा आ. हुन जो इदां दा कोई मिल जाए जे तो नहीं हैगा, ਆਪਾਂ ਉੱਚੋਂ ਭਾਲੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ. ਨਹੀਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਲੱਭਣਾ ਪਿਆਰਿਓ. ਆਓ ਆਪਾਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਦੀ ਦੁਕਾਨ ਤੇ ਆਏ ਅੱਜ. ਆਪਣਾ ਮਨ ਇੱਥੇ ਛੱਡ ਕੇ ਜਾਣਾ ਆ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਗਰੀਬ ਨਵਾਜ਼ ਸਤਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਸੱਚੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ, ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਦੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਘੱਟ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਸਦਾ ਆ, ਕਿ ਕੇਵਲ ਕਹਿਣ ਮਾਤਰ ਨਾ ਹੋਵੇ, ਮੇਰੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਵੀ ਉਹ ਘੱਟ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਸੇ. ਆਓ ਪਿਆਰਿਓ ਆਪਾਂ ਭਗਤ ਨਾਮਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਦੇ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜਨਾ, ਫਿਰ ਕੁਝ ਵਿਚਾਰਾਂ ਕਰਕੇ ਉਹ ਸ਼ਬਦੀਆਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਸਮਾਪਤੀ ਕਰਨੀ ਆ. ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ ਆਓ ਆਪਾਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਪੜ੍ਹੀਏ. ਮੋਕੋ ਤੂੰ ਨਾ ਵਿਸਾਰ, ਤੂੰ ਨਾ ਵਿਸਾਰ, ਤੂੰ ਨਾ ਵਿਸਾਰੇ ਰਾਮਈਆ. ਆਓ
ਮੋਕੋ ਤੂੰ ਨਾ ਵਿਸਾਰ, ਤੂੰ ਨਾ ਵਿਸਾਰ, ਤੂੰ ਨਾ ਵਿਸਾਰੇ ਰਾਮਈਆ, ਤੂੰ ਨਾ ਵਿਸਾਰੇ ਰਾਮਈਆ. ਮੋਕੋ ਤੂੰ ਨਾ ਵਿਸਾਰ, ਤੂੰ ਨਾ ਵਿਸਾਰ, ਤੂੰ ਨਾ ਵਿਸਾਰੇ ਰਾਮਈਆ, ਤੂੰ ਨਾ ਵਿਸਾਰੇ. ਮੋਕੋ ਤੂੰ ਨਾ ਵਿਸਾਰ, ਤੂੰ ਨਾ ਵਿਸਾਰ, ਤੂੰ ਨਾ ਵਿਸਾਰੇ ਰਾਮਈਆ, ਤੂੰ ਨਾ ਵਿਸਾਰੇ, ਤੂੰ ਨਾ ਵਿਸਾਰ, ਤੂੰ ਨਾ ਵਿਸਾਰ. ਮੋਕੋ ਤੂੰ ਨਾ ਵਿਸਾਰ, ਤੂੰ ਨਾ ਵਿਸਾਰ, ਤੂੰ ਨਾ ਵਿਸਾਰ, ਤੂੰ ਨਾ ਵਿਸਾਰ. ਮੋਕੋ
ਤੂੰ ਨਾ ਵਿਸਾਰ,
ਤੂੰ ਨਾ ਵਿਸਾਰ, ਤੂੰ ਨਾ ਵਿਸਾਰੇ ਰਾਮਈਆ, ਤੂੰ ਨਾ ਵਿਸਾਰੇ ਰਾਮਈਆ, बिसार तू ना बिसारे रामैया मोको तू ना बिसार तू ना बिसार तू ना बिसारे रामैया मोको तू ना बिसार तू ना बिसार मोको तू ना बिसार तू ना बिसारे रामैया तू ना बिसारे रामैया मोको तू ना बिसार तू ना बिसार तू ना बिसारे रामैया तू ना ना बिसारे रामैया मुए हुए जो मुक्त दिलोगे मुक्त न जाने कोयला मुए हुए जो मुक्त दिलोगे मुक्त न जाने कोयला ये पंडिया मोको डेढ़ कहत तेरी पैज पिछोंडी होएला ये पंडिया मोको डेढ़ कहत तेरी पैज पिछोंडी होएला तेरी पैज पिछोंडी होएला तेरी पैज पिछोंडी होएला मोको तू ना बिसार तू ना बिसार तू ना बिसारे रामैया तू ना बिसार मोको तू ना बिसार तू ना बिसार मोको तू ना बिसार तू ना बिसारे रामैया तू ना बिसारे रामैया तू ना बिसार तू ना बिसार तू ना बिसारे रामैया तू ना बिसार तू ना बिसार तू ना बिसारे रामैया तू जो दयाल कृपाल कहियत है अत कुछ भयो अपार तू जो दयाल कृपाल कहियत है अत कुछ भयो अपार फेर दिया तेहरा नाम को पंडियन को पिछवाला फेर दिया तेहरा नाम को पंडियन को ਫੇਰ ਦਿਆ ਦੇਹੁਰਾ ਨਾਮੇ ਕੋ ਫੇਰ ਦਿਆ ਦੇਹੁਰਾ ਨਾਮੇ ਕੋ ਨਾਮੇ ਕੋ पंडियन को पिछवार ला ज्यों ज्यों नामा हर गुण उचरै भगत जना को देहुरा तेरै ज्यों ज्यों नामा हर गुण उचरै भगत जना को देहुरा फिरै भगत जना को देहुरा फिरै हस्त खिलत तेरे देहुरे आया भगत करत नामा पकड़ उठाया हस्त खिलत तेरे देहुरे आया भगत करत नामा पकड़ उठाया नीनड़ी जात मेरी जात मराया छिपे के जन्म काहे को आया नीनड़ी जात मेरी जात मराया छिपे के जन्म काहे को आया छिपे के जन्म काहे को आया छिपे के जन्म काहे को आया ज्यों ज्यों नामा हर गुण उचरै भगत जना को देहुरा फिरै ज्यों ज्यों नामा हर गुण उचरै भगत जना को देहुरा फिरै भगत जना को देहुरा फिरै लै कमली चलियो पलटाए देहुरे पाछे बैठा जाए लै कमली चलियो पलटाए देहुरे पाछे बैठा जाए देहुरे पाछे बैठा जाए ओ देहुरे पाछे बैठा जाए ज्यों ज्यों नामा हर गुण उचरै भगत जना को देहुरा फिरै ज्यों ज्यों नामा हर गुण उचरै भगत जना को देहुरा फिरै भगत जना को देहुरा फिरै भगत जना को देहुरा फिरै फेर दिया देहुरा नामे को पंडियन को पिछवार ला फेर दिया देहुरा नामे को पंडियन को पिछवार ला पंडियन को पिछवार ला पंडियन को पिछवार ला मोको तू ना बिसार तू ना बिसार तू ना बिसार
सारे जब
ना बिसार जी तू ना बिसार तू ना बिसारे रामैया तू ना बिसारे जी तू ना बिसार
खेलत तेरे देहरे आया। भगत नामदेव जी संगत जी, a Bhagat, a devotee of that Akal Purkh Vaheguru Ji of God. Hasat khelat. He was laughing and he was playing. ਸੰਗੀਤਾ ਨਾਲੇ ਭਗਤ ਨਾਮਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਹੱਥ ਵਿੱਚ ਖੜਕਾਵਾਂ ਫੜੀਆਂ ਹੋਈਆਂ ਨੇ। In his hands, Bhagat Naam Dev Ji, what sometimes we call shane, what you've been seeing being played. No, show the Sangat the shane. Yeah, there we go. Khadkawa, right? Similar to that. Wooden khadkawa, Bhagat Naam Dev Ji is playing. अपनी मस्ती विच, अपने मौज विच करके संग जी राम रस पिया रे जेह रस बिसर गे रस और। Sangat, we often ask, how can I break away from this? How can I break away from that? How can I break this habit? How can I get out of this rut? Guru Sahib Ji saying that Ram Ras Piya Re, when you drink that ras, when you drink that juice of Ram, when you say the name of God and that juice goes inside of you, Ram Ras Piya Re, and that juice of love inside of you, as you're remembering that one, Jeh Ras, when you get to experience the Ras, the true essence, that true juice inside, it starts flowing inside of us. Jeh Ras, Bisar Ge Ras Aur. All these little things, these habits that we can't break from, we don't even know where they've gone. Har tijadi lav man chau paya bairagiya Balram Jiyo. When we reach that state of, Guru Sahib Ji say, tijadi lav, that third state, har tijadi lav man chau paya. When this yearning and longing goes deep inside of us, har tijadi lav man chau paya. The word chau, I remember using it growing up when you were excited about something. And Sangat, not many of us, unfortunately, are excited about God. We're excited about many other things in life, but we don't wake up in the morning in this excitement saying, I want to see you. We don't wake up in the morning with that pain of ek kadi na milte ta kal jug hota. Hun kad miliye priya tud bhagwanta mohe rain na vihave. नींद ना आवे बिन देखे गुर दरबारे जी. Not many of us wake up with that pain of saying that I'm still alone. नींद नह नैनो, saying that sej akeli नींद नह नैनो. Guru Arjan Dev Ji Paatshah. Deh this दामन चमक डरायो. Guru Arjan Dev Ji Paatshah is describing their state. Deh this daman chamk darayo. Guru Arjan Dev Ji Paatshah is saying, imagine that bride that is left alone and her husband's gone out to work somewhere and she has to get through those lonely nights on her own. Guru Arjan Dev Ji Paatshah saying, Deh this daman chamk darayo, that in all 10 directions the lightning can be seen. It's thundering. Saying that uche chadke, Guru Arjan Dev Ji Paatshah saying, I go and climb on top of this mandir and I'm looking far ahead to see if I can see my husband, Lord, my Guru coming. This state, we don't often find ourselves reach that state. Mandir chadke panth niharo. Mandir chadke panth niharo. Sangat Ji, and sometimes it's difficult to relate to this type of bani, and as you can see it now come up on the screen because it just came to me very randomly, and I was probably saying some of the pangtiya wrong, but Guru Arjan Dev Ji, they've gone to Lahore. Dekho kidhar nu gaddi chal pai. Khair, Guru Arjan Dev Ji Paatshah Ji has been sent away by their father Guru Ramdas Ji Pacha Ji, and we all know that Mera man loche Gurdarshan Tai, you don't have to bring this up just yet. Mera man loche Gurdarshan Tai, we all are familiar with the Shabad Hazaray. Who's familiar with Shabad Hazaray? Raise hands. Who's familiar with this Mera man loche Gurdarshan Tai, Bilp kare chatri ki nyai? But how many of you are familiar with this Shabad, Mandir chadke panth niharu? Not many of you, no? Before Guru Arjan Dev Ji wrote down the Shabad Hazaray letters of saying that Mera man loche Gurdarshan Tai, before that, Guru Arjan Dev Ji Pacha Ji, they wrote about this later, but this is their state before they wrote the Shabad Hazaray. They're describing their state before that. They're saying, this was my state. My Guru Ramdas Ji Pacha Ji sent me away to Lahore to a wedding and said, you are not to return until I ask you to return. Guru Arjan Dev Ji says, let me tell you my experience of being separated from my Guru. They're saying that, you know, like a bride. How many of you been to India? Okay. In India, how many of you have experienced an open court, an open yard at the top of the house? Yeah, an open kotha at the top. So, thalyo bandya, kothe te chad ke to utron shat hai nahi gi. And you know, ਜਦੋਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਇਸਤਰੀ ਦਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਪਤੀ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਨ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਬਾਹਰ, ਜਦੋਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਨਾ ਕਿ ਉਹਨੇ ਮੁੜਨਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਜਾਂ ਮੁੜਿਆ ਨਹੀਂ. Sangat, I can relate to this because who can remember back to the days before having smartphones and mobile phones? Who can remember those days? Yeah, some of you can't, but right? I can remember those days. And when a bride's husband had gone away to work, and when she missed him so much, even though she knew that he may not be coming back yet, she wouldn't know what to do. She'd be going crazy. She'd go to the top of the house, to the kotha, and she'd be looking down the streets of the bend of the village to see Mera Pati aa raha hai, to see if my husband's coming. Sangji, and I can relate to that because when I was growing up, before the days of phones, and I remember when I was like 9-10 years old and my mom would go to work, and hopefully there's no social workers here, even if they can't do anything now because I'm 40. And yes, our parents used to leave us alone at the age of 10 and they'd be at work, right? So, but when mom would supposed to come back from work about 4:30, 5, no phones, and back in them days on Fridays, they'd get their wages but cash. And she'd be traveling back on the bus, especially in the winter days, it'd get dark, so we'd get worried. As children, it'd be 5 o'clock, 5:30, still not back. Little did we know, she's gone into the Bullring markets to spend some of her wages, and there's her kids worried at home. And what did I used to do? Come and stand outside on the street, watching, looking at the road, saying, Hale aini ma? Mom's not back yet. And it's not going to make her come back any sooner, but it's just this thing we do to comfort ourselves. Anybody relate to that? Done crazy stuff like that, looked through the window, just gone outside to have a look. And when the wives and their husbands would go out to work, they'd go out to the top. Guru Arjan Dev Ji Pacha Ji is in this state. Because now, Sangat Ji, it's been about 9-10 months. Guru Ramdas Ji Pacha Ji hasn't called them back. And they're describing, they said this, it feels like this when a wife has been left on her own. If you go to the first panktiyan, they're this daman chamk darayo. Virji, just go to the first panktiyan. They're this daman chamk darayo. That's the word I was missing out. They're this chatar meg kata kata daman chamk darayo. Sangat Ji, deh this. Disha means directions, deh means 10. Guru Arjan Dev Ji describing that night and saying, this is how the nights felt for me. Chatar means the canopy. Meg means the clouds. Kat, this is through and through there was just clouds. Daman chamk darayo, this says the lightning was frightening. Then this says that sage akeli, listen to this. Sangat Ji, you know, longing for God, we've got to become this bride. And I know for the Singhs sitting there thinking, that's a hard one. Trying to imagine myself in a red suit, sitting there in a ਕੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਉਹ ਬੰਗਾ ਨੂੰ ਜਦੋਂ ਵਿਆਹ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਕੁੜੀ ਦਾ ਚੂੜਾ. It's hard, isn't it, Mano, to try and imagine yourself in a chuda and a red suit. Not easy, is it? But look, ਪਰ ਜਦੋਂ ਅੰਦਰੋਂ ਤਾਂਗ ਲੱਗ ਜਾਵੇ ਨਾ, and ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ ਮੈਂ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ and I say sometimes that ਕਈ ਵਾਰ ਨਾ ਜਿੰਨਾ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਦੁੱਖ ਆ ਉਨਾ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਚਾਂਸ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਅੰਦਰੋਂ ਉਹ ਤਾਂਗ ਲੱਗਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ. Sometimes the more pain we're in on a worldly level, the more chance we've got to have that type of pain and becoming a bride from inside. Sage Guru Arjan Dev Ji said, this is how it feels like for me. I feel like this bride. I go back to my bed, Sage akeli, but there's no one. I'm on my own in bed. Neend nahi naino. I've got no sleep in my eyes. Pir pardes sadayo. My husband Pardes has gone out, isn't here. Sadayo. How can we all relate to that? When we feel disconnected from inside and feel that we haven't got that connection with Guru Nanak anymore. Can't feel the presence of God inside of us anymore. Read your next panktiyaan. Hun nahi sandesro mayo. And they said, Guru Arjan Dev Ji said it got to such a point, they said one day I started thinking about my mother. I started thinking, oh Bibi Pani Ji, why haven't you sent yet the messenger to call me back? I feel all alone here. I want to see Father. I'm dying from it inside. This is the Shabad that Guru Arjan Dev Ji first wrote. Hun nahi sandesro mayo. Next पंक्तियां. एक केसरो सिद्ध करत लाल तब चतर पात्रो आयो. Guru Arjan Dev Ji Paat saying that एक केसरो, sometimes I'd only be gone only a mile away from you. Siddh kart lal, and this says that tab chatar patro, Guru Ramdas Ji, you would send 4 letters to me in such a short period of time. I was only gone a mile. This is, but now can they? Nothing. Tab chatar patro, but now there's no message for me to come back. Sangji, when you get to this level of wanting to meet Vaheguru, when you feel the separation pain to that level, when your day and night inside is saying that mere to hun tere bagair hor koi guzara nahi, feeling like this for God, that now without you there is I can't survive without you now, getting to that point. Sangat ji, some of you may be able to relate, some of you may not be able to relate. If you cannot relate to that experience and feeling, do ardas. Until we don't get that feeling, we won't actually unite with God. We've got to go crazy. Guru Nanak Dev Ji said that my heart is in pain to see Vaheguru. Bhagat Naam Dev Ji is in that state. He was singing, he was dancing, he was playing his khadkama, and he rocked up to the Mandir. When he turned up to the Mandir and he sat there, he said, Ala Vanti eho Brahma jo hai. Let's go through this Shabad. Ala Vanti, what's Ala Vanti? Ala Vanti is referring to the Pandits, to the scholars, to those that think we have right over mandirs and praying, and we have right, we are the high caste. The word Ala Vanti comes from the word Allah. What does Allah mean? Anybody? Allah? Kende no chidiyan da Allah. Allah means a nest. Allah means a nest, house, kar. Allah means ucha kar. Allah Vanti means those people that think asi uche karua, that think we're from a high house, we're from a high class. Bhagat Naam Dev Ji said, listen, talking to God. How many of you sitting here have that regular dialogue and have an internal conversation with God? Like, how many of you have conversations with God on a regular basis every day? Or yeah? Look, one at the back. Come on, are you just being shy? How many of you have conversations with God, Lindy, every day? Right, there we go. Bhagat Naam Dev Ji, Alavanti eo Brahma jo hai. Brahma means doubt. They said, God, hold up. They've got this doubt that these people that think they are high caste, they think there's such a thing that some people are high caste and God favors them. Alavanti eo Brahma jo hai. This says, you know what? What melts me is Bhagat Naam Dev Ji's innocence. Can you imagine the way he must have been talking to God? He's sitting in the mandir. He came in singing, dancing, Hasta khelta tere dwara aaya. He must have been crazy, just singing and just walked into the mandir and he goes, these guys have got a little doubt in their head. He's saying to God, Muj upar sab kopila. All of these lot in this mandir, all of them, kopila means angry. They're all angry with me. Why are they angry with me? Because they think they are high caste and I'm a low caste. Sangat Ji and Bhagat Naam Dev Ji said that they went to this extent because they thought they have right over the mandir. They have right over this place. They said, you know what they did to me? They started shouting. They started saying, oh, Sood, meaning Shudra. Shudra means untouchable. That low caste. Sood. Bhagat Naam Dev Ji said, you know what they did to me? Kar maar uthayo. They hit me. They beat me. Kende maar ke kende uthayo and they got me up. They hit me and they got me up. Kende sood kar maar uthayo. And they said, Bhagat Naam Dev Ji in that moment they says, Kaha karo baap Beetula. Beetula is another name for God. I haven't got time now to break the words down. This is Maharashtri. So it's from down south. Bombay ends. It's the language from there. Maharashtra. Kaha karo baap Beetula. Think about this now. Sometimes we come to the Gurdwara and someone says something to us. We want to do a certain something and then somebody stops us from doing that because they think, well, for whatever reason, you get into some sort of experience. So many people say, I went to the Gurdwara, this happened, they spoke to me like this, I ain't going again. But look, listen to these words. Bhagat Naam Dev Ji is getting battered. Just because of the caste he's born into. And what is he just referred to God as? He still said, you're my father. Kaha karo baap Beetula. Hey mere pitaji, oh my father. Sangat Ji, we come here. Sometimes somebody might speak to us bitterly, but oh, we sadhe varke ya. They're just like us as well. They might be wearing a kurta like this, but they're just like us as well. They got their own struggles. I often say, कोई दुखी किसी ਨੂੰ ਦੁਖੀ ਕਰਦਾ ਪਿਆਰਿਓ ਕੋਈ ਦੁਖੀ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਦੁਖੀ ਕਰਦਾ if somebody is giving somebody else pain it's because they're in pain themselves nobody that is happy is going to make somebody else unhappy does that make sense if you're in a bad place you're going to put that on somebody else and kaha karo baap Beetla Bhagat Naam Dev Ji said This pankti is amazing. Muए हुए जो मुक्त दे होंगे. Bhagat Naam Dev Ji said, now, wait there. Pankti kari. This says, usmadhi lagi. Muए हुए जो मुक्त दे होंगे. Check these words out. It says, listen God, I get it. I get it that me and you are okay. Yeah. And when I die, I know I'm liberated. This says, but it's not enough. Check this relationship out. How beautiful and close it is. Moe hoye jo mukt de honge mukt na jane koila. He says, but if you don't do something about what's happening to me now, me getting battered, I'm getting beat up now. If you don't do something about this now, who's gonna know? How are these people that are in doubt that they are closer to God, how are they going to know? Sangat Ji, sometimes just because somebody looks a certain way, just because somebody does a bit more part, just because somebody thinks whatever of themselves, but the truth is karmi apo apni ke neda ke dur. We don't know who's close, we don't know who's far. Kach pakai othe pai. Sangat, you read this Bani every day. Baldev Singh, just you're awake. Where's this pankti from? Kach pakai othe pai. What Bani is it from? Sorry? Laj Rakhli. He's one of my students, like comes to the classes, like, so thank you. Kach pakai othe pai. Kacha kaun hai, pakka kaun hai? Aapa nu nahi pata, oh onu pata hai. Only when we reach a certain state will we really know. But Sangji, sometimes we think, oh, bet you they're close to God and they're not. No, we don't know. Don't judge anyone. Sometimes the ones that you think are the furthest are the closest. Sangji, there's somebody wrote a book in the late 1800s about after death. Somebody called Julian. Bhai Vir Singh Ji make a mention of her, and what she did was, after she died, she was a very devout Christian, and Julian, when she died, she wrote a book through her friend after she died. He wouldn't believe her first, he'd think he's going mad, and he'd start writing about heaven and this experience, and from the perspective of his friend that's died, and he'd say, I'm losing it. And she said, and when he'd start writing, it felt like something's come through him, and he said that, then he'd say, look, I'm going mad. And she said, I promise it's me. And then she told him certain things to go in certain places only that she could have known, to confirm to him that it's definitely her coming through him to write about afterlife. She said, all I really want to let you know this, Bhai Vir Singh Ji wrote about her. She said, I really want you to know this, in this realm, wherever I am. She says, I just call it the light of love. She said, there's certain subtle bodies here. So she says, not the physical bodies, but the certain subtle bodies, but we can still have an inkling of what physical body they had in that world. She says, but the ones that we thought, there's many that we thought that were close to God, that were Christians from the outside. She says, they are nowhere near that light of love. And she says, you know, some of the simple people, like the random milkman, that was very simple-minded and simple and very pure-hearted. She said, those subtle minds are very close to the light of love. Kach pakai othe pai. Only we know who are kache, who are false, and who are pakke, who are true. Don't judge somebody like me just because I'm sitting on this stage wearing a pretty decent damalla, right? And think just because he's got a nice damalla that he must be closer. It doesn't work like that. We don't know whose heart is truly pure. Ke neda, ke dur. Bhagat Naam Dev Ji is saying that, look, saying to God, if you don't do something now, how are people going to know that I am a devotee of yours and that you have accepted me, that I am liberated? People are going to think that these guys that have got this doubt of thinking they are high and they are whatever they think they are, that they're going to be right. Mue hue, jo mukt de honge, mukt na jane koila. E pandiya moko ted kahat. Sangat ji, when we read Bani like this, E pandiya the Pandits, Bhagat Naam Dev Ji, in his mind having a conversation with God whilst he's getting battered. He's getting beat up and dragged, and he's having a conversation with God inside, and he's saying, E pandiya moko ted means binga, means like he's off the rail. He can't be close to God because of his caste. And sometimes we are so judgmental towards people, right? E pandiya moko ted kahat. This part is what blows my mind. This is where we want to get with God, to be able to talk to God like this. He says, listen, he goes, I'll be all right. He goes, you know whose honor is going to be tarnished? Bhagat Naam Dev Ji said, not mine. He says, God, yours. You've blown it. He said to God. Teri paj pachaundi hoila. Pachaundi means tarnished. Because people are going to say, he was a so-called devotee of yours. He got battered and nobody even saved him. He goes, Teri paj pachaundi hoila. He goes, God, it's all right. It's all right. You don't have to do anything then, all right. It's all right. Your honor is gone. I said to God, how beautiful is that? How beautiful is that? When we can talk to God like that. When we can say, Vaheguru, like, wait there, people actually think I'm a very devout Gursikh. I know my state, but I want to become that devout Gursikh that is every moment is immersed in your name. And your honor is at stake, Vaheguru. Hey Guru Nanak Sache Paatshah, मैं ਤਾਂ ਹੈ ਹੀ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹਾ ਪਰ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਵੱਲ ਨਾ ਕਿਤੇ ਕੋਈ ਉਂਗਲ ਕਰ ਦੇਵੇ ਮੈਂ ਹੈ ਨਹੀਂ ਉਹ ਜਿਹਾ ਜੋ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਸਮਝਦਾ ਆ ਪਰ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਬਣਾ ਦਿਓ ਉਹ ਜਿਹਾ ਪਰ make me that then Bhagat Naam Dev Ji says ਤੂੰ ਜੋ ਦਿਆਲ ਕਿਰਪਾਲ ਕਹੀਤ ਹੈ. This is, I've heard that you're meant to be compassionate. Who's heard that about God? Who's heard that God's compassionate? Who's gone through a stage in their life and has thought, where's your compassion? It's like, where is it? Kithe gayi? Yeah? You've all been there thinking, I'm in a pretty bad place here. Like, apparently you're compassionate. And this is what Bhagat Naam Dev Ji said, I'm getting battered here in your house. He says, तू जो दयाल कृपाल कहियत है at puj. Puj Sangat ji means powerful arms. Mine aren't so great, right? Sakhi was sitting there, he's a bit more stronger, but I don't know where he's gone. Yeah. Rubbish. Sim? Look, Bhagat Naam Dev Ji saying, At puj, tu at bahut hi jada. Your arms are so powerful. Must be, you're God, right? Your arms must be pretty strong, right? At puj, pio apadla. How strong? No limit to the strength of your arms, Sangat Ji. At this point, Bhagat Naam Dev Ji stands up. He's been dragged up anyway. They dragged him up. But I can almost vision it that even though he's been dragged up, he's not resisting. And from inside, he still must. He's still in that juice of love. And it's like he's just been dragged around like this doll. As he's been dragged around like this doll and they've lifted him up, Bhagat Naam Dev Ji starts to walk to the back of the Mandir. And he said to God, it doesn't matter what they think of me, it doesn't matter what they do to me. He says, but oh Vaheguru Ji, oh Akal Purkh He Ram, Moko Tu Na Bisaar. Tu Na Bisaar. Tu Na Bisaar e Ramaiya. You don't ever forget me, Vaheguru. I forget you all the time because my grip is so weak. But kete tu na mainu bhul baithi. Visualize it. He's walking to the back of the mandir and he's saying, Moko tu na bisaar. Tu na bisaar. Tu na bisaar e Ramaiya. Ek wari pad liye, ardas kariye. Aao ardas kariye Moko tu na bisaar, and we'll finish the Sakhi.
Tu na bisaar, tu na bisaar, tu na bisaar e Ramaiya. Moko tu na bisaar, tu na bisaar, tu na bisaar e Ramaiya. Tu na bisaar, tu na bisaar, बिसारे रामैया तू ना बिसारे रामैया तू ना बिसार तू ना बिसार तू ना बिसारे रामैया तू ना
जो जो नामा हर गुण उच्चर है. Bhagat Naam Dev Ji said, it's cool, I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing, but sometimes the smallest of thing happens, the smallest of things. Someone says something to us, a little bit. We lose something. We separate from something. Someone close to us dies. Someone leaves us. Someone starts to treat us a certain way. Someone at the Gurdwara says something to us and that's it. We're done. We're like, forget that. After he's been battered, he sits at the back of the Mandir and he says, as I was singing Jojo Nama Har Gun Uchara. He says that, you know what you did? You know how powerful your arms are, oh Vaheguru Ji? Fair diya. Dihora Name ka. He says, fair diya. He says, wow. Way stronger than Arjan and Baljit Singh. Way stronger. Fair diya. He says, you turned around the Mandir. Sangat, the Mandir turned around. You go to that area. Sant Baba Hardev Singh Ji Lulowale went there and he showed in a video all the direction of all the other Mandirs, because that's how they were built, because they worshipped in a certain direction, but that one Mandir is facing the opposite direction. It used to face the direction of all the other Mandirs. Because Bhagat Naam Dev Ji says, Fair diya dihora name ko pandiyan ko which varla. He says, you turned your back on these Pandits and the Mandir faced me. That's how strong your arms are. Meaning, if we talk to God like that, with that much faith and do an ardas like that, God can turn around this whole world for us. Rab ta dharti asman tak le jave, asman tak dharti le aave. Sangat ji, ਇਹਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਅਸਲ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਰਦਾਸ. ਇਹਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਅਸਲ ਵਿੱਚ having a conversation with God. To that point where God's like, all right, let me show you what my biceps are about. I'll actually turn that Mandir around for you. And sometimes, and when I was thinking about this Shabad today, and I was thinking like, there's so many things that we doubt that will God be able to do this for me? And sometimes we get caught up in this whole thing of like, yeah, but it's hukam. And I always say to people, just please don't use that word, because you don't know what you're on about. And what about using the word ardas? What about using sentences like that God can do anything? That God can take from Pekhari te Raj Karave, Raje te Pekhari. Pekhari, God can take a beggar and make a beggar into a king, and from a king into a beggar. Pekhari te Raj Karave, Raje te Pekhari. Oh, ki nahi kar sakta? What can't that one do? And sometimes I think that, Fair diya, yo, the Mandir turned around. It's like, there ain't no small thing, is it, Baldev? Like, you know, I know you think you're pretty strong, but you ain't going to be able to pick up a Mandir and turn it around, right? But you know what? Oh, inna bayanteya, Vaheguru is so limitless, you never know. He could put that strength in the arms of Baldev Singh and make him pick something up that... You know what? Why do we doubt? We say God is limitless, and then we limit God by saying, well, this can't change because medical science has said it can't. No, man. It doesn't work like that. Yeah, it just means medical science haven't been able to prove that there is that possibility as well. If we've got faith in God, that means then all possibilities are available. Anything can happen. So when we say aparla, that God is limitless, so who here has faith that God is limitless? So then who has faith that God can do anything then? So now who has faith that no matter what is going on in your life, no matter what it is, that God can turn it around for you? Who's got that faith now? Fir diya dihura name ka pandiyan ko pichwarla. God can turn it back to anyone and face us. Sangat ji, how samapti kariye ji. Take this away. I'm going to take it away, because the way that just came out, I've never heard it like that before. I was like, yo, I've just learned something. I've never heard, I didn't plan that. I was like, I'm taking that away. This is why Sangat is cool. I always say to Sangat, don't just think you've come here to learn, you've come here to experience. Sangat is an experience. Sometimes we think, I'm going to Sangat to learn. That's only half. Half learn and half experience. The experience is more powerful than what you could ever learn intellectually. When you experience something, then you really know it. Where the doing is, where the experience is, Bhai Ji used to always say this to me. Whenever Sangat would come from abroad or anywhere, I'd take him to Bhai Ji, to Bhagat Singh. Bhai Ji they just see right through us. When I first started doing katha, they'd always say to me, and they'd say, it's easy to talk, you haven't tasted God yet. I'd say, all right. And then they'd say, where the experience is, then you'll understand. Don't think you get it yet. And whenever somebody would come, they'd say, when you start to experience things, when you experience Sangat, nobody can take that away from you. When you experience Sangat, nobody can take that away from you. Sangat is not academic learning. Sangat is an experience. Sangat is vibration. So, aao Sangat ji che karni te puri mat. Karni bajo kate kat. If you just get caught in your head, in your intellectual understanding, Guru Sahib ji said kate kat, it's just reduction in your life. Experience. We want to experience God. We want to experience the love of Sangat. Aao. Pangtiyan pad ke Anand Sahib padhiye.
If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share and subscribe. Please donate and help spread Guruji's message. Link is in the description below. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh.